Okay, let's talk about a song that does something absolutely brilliant and pretty shocking. It uses the language of BDSM to ask a deeply uncomfortable question about the nature of religious faith. This is Rammstein's masterpiece of provocation, Bestrafe, Mich.
This track from their 1997 breakout album Sehnsucht isn't just about a theme. The very sound of the song is the theme. The production itself is an exercise in control, in force. It's basically auditory punishment, creating this atmosphere that's every bit as unsettling as the words.
You know, at its heart, this song is digging into the darkest corners of power dynamics. It's all about that relationship between the one in charge and the one who submits, the master and the servant. But, and with Rammstein there's always a but, it's about to take this theme to a place you are probably not expecting.
And that's where this comes in. The whole surface-level theme? Yeah, that's just the bait. That's just the first layer of a much more complex and, I'd say, much more critical argument that they're building.
First up, a cathedral of sound, the sonic architecture. Let's start with just how the song feels, because before you understand a single word of German, the production has already built a very specific and very uncomfortable world around you.
I mean, just look at these words. Industrial, claustrophobic, martial. They absolutely nail the vibe, right? This atmosphere was meticulously crafted by the producer, Jacob Hellner, to be a kind of auditory punishment. The sound is so dense and oppressive, it kind of makes you feel like you're literally trapped inside some giant cold machine.
And the song's tempo? It's not just some random number. At a steady 103 beats per minute, it's this relentless metronomic pulse. This is the foundation of Rammstein's signature style, what they call Tanzmetal, or dance metal. It's a rhythm that forces you into this hypnotic, disciplined kind of movement. And the drums don't even sound like a normal rock kit. They sound like massive pistons, just driving this unstoppable ritual forward.
All right, next section, the plea for punishment, deconstructing the lyrics. Now that we've got the sound down, let's get into the words themselves and start peeling back that first, most obvious layer.
The title itself says it all. Bestrafe mich means punish me. And it's not a question, it's a command. The entire song is built around this direct, repeated, active demand to be punished.
And then you get this line which really lays out the core dynamic. Your greatness makes me small. You may be my punisher. It's the classic language of a power exchange. But that one little word, darst, you may be, that's the key. It signals consent. This isn't an attack, it's an agreement being made, a contract being sealed.
So yeah, on the first lesson, it's pretty clear. The song seems to be exploring BDSM, where punishment can be a form of intimacy and trust. But come on, this is Rammstein we're talking about. It's never ever just about what's on the surface.
Okay, part 3, cracking the lyrical code, unlocking the metaphors. This is where that simple interpretation really starts to fracture, because the lyrics get, well, they get weird and symbolic.
Suddenly, they hit you with this line, straw becomes gold and gold becomes stone. If that rings a bell, it should. It's a direct reference to the fairy tale of Rumpelstiltskin, but with a really dark twist.
Think about this cycle. You have straw, something worthless, turned into gold, a miracle. But then, that precious gold is turned into stone. It's not just about creating value. It's about having the power to create it and then destroy it, to make value itself completely meaningless. This suggests a power that's far beyond any normal human partner.
And then, bam, any doubt about who we're talking about is just shattered. They drop this line, the Lord takes, the Lord gives. This is an almost direct quote from the Bible's book of Job. The punisher isn't a person anymore. They're explicitly talking about God.
So, a masochistic theology, the revelation. Let's connect these clues because that biblical reference is the key that unlocks the entire song's shocking, central idea.
See, what the song does so masterfully is fuse these two worlds together. It shows how the language of sexual submission is disturbingly similar to the language of religious piety. That feeling of being small and insignificant in front of a dominant partner, it perfectly mirrors the feeling of awe before an all-powerful God. It's the same psychology.
And here comes the final, sinister twist. Rammstein adds their own little line to that biblical proverb, but he only gives to the one he also loves. So now, they're taking that idea of God taking things away and directly connecting it to another theological concept, that God only disciplines the ones he truly loves. And there it is, the song's true target. It's a brutal critique of the psychology behind absolute religious devotion, and it's using BDSM as this incredibly powerful, provocative metaphor. The argument is that this kind of extreme faith requires a masochistic mindset where suffering becomes the only proof that God is paying attention. Punish me becomes a desperate cry for validation. Prove you love me.
Final section, the ritual made real, fusing sound and meaning. This brings us right back to the music, because now every single sonic choice they made is going to make perfect, chilling sense. It's all designed to serve this dark theological argument.
The music isn't just background noise. It's the architecture for this twisted church. Those tight, palm-muted guitar riffs in the verses, that's pure tension and oppressive control. And then the chorus just explodes with these massive open power chords. That's the cathartic release of finally submitting. And all the while, you've got those keyboards in the background, sounding just like a distorted church organ, sealing this unholy union.
And of course, on stage, they made this whole ritual terrifyingly real. Frontman Till Lindemann would often actually self-flagellate with a whip during the song, totally blurring the line between a rock performance and a public penance. It was the entire argument of the song, made visual and literal right in front of you. Masochism as the ultimate public display of devotion.
So what's the big takeaway? Bestrafe Mich is just a masterwork of cohesion. Every sound, every word, every gesture is engineered to make this one provocative point about power. It brilliantly uses the language of one taboo, BDSM, to expose the psychological guts of another sacred cow, absolute faith.
And in the end, it forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question, one that applies way beyond the stage. In faith, in love, in life, where does devotion end and domination begin?